So now we are going to look at um, formal way of, or the normally how people set up figure and access objects. So remember, figure is the overall container, and you can't draw anything on the figure. Now we add what are called access objects into the figure, and it is in the access objects that we make plots. Okay. And you can have multiple access objects within a figure, okay, and a given access object can only belong to one figure. Okay. And we use the subplots method, okay, and it goes like this. PLT, remember, PLT is the nickname for matplotlib.pyplot. That's what we are referring to when we do PLT. So in PLT.subplots, we can define how many rows of plots we want, how many columns of plots we want, and then you can access the individual plots as the third digit. Okay, but third digit, we'll go through all of that. Okay, so if we do plot subplots, right, and then we say 2, 3. So that means we want 2 rows and 3 columns, so 6 plots within the figure. Okay, and when we run that, so here we get that. So here we have a tuple that is created, and there are 2 elements in the tuple. Okay, the first element is the figure object. So that's the overall container inside which all of these access objects go. And the second element is the array. Okay, and inside that array we have subplots access subplot object, and it creates 6 subplot objects. Then we can access each one of these and then put in any plot that we want inside it. Okay, they can be all different plots. Okay, so normally what you would do is you'll capture this instead of simply saying plot subplots 2, 3. So you would capture these 2 objects. See, like we have done this before early in the semester. When we have a tuple, we can assign the tuple elements into multiple variables. Okay, so if you assign it to 2 variables, the first element of the tuple will go to the first variable, the second element will go to the second variable. So this figure will have the container, AX will have the array of all the access objects. Okay. All right, so now before we actually start plotting, okay, let's say that the plots are kind of running into each other, so that we can do a couple of things. One is we can specify the figure size. Remember, we did that here, figure size. Okay, we can use the same property here in the subplots. Okay, so if you say fig size, and then you give whatever size you want, say 15 by 10, that should be a tuple. And it should be figure size. Okay, so now they seem to be fine. It's expanded out, and the numbers are not running into each other. But if you want to control the amount of space that we have between the axis objects on the width way or in the height direction, we can do that using PLT subplots adjust. So then we can say W space, you can give a number between 0 and 1, and then control, you can experiment with it and then make sure that you have a layout that you're happy with. Okay. So once you've done that, then we have the objects. Remember, these objects are valid only within the cell. If you go to a second cell after that, those objects are not available. So you have to recreate it. Okay. So now that we have those objects, then we can start drawing in those objects. So the AX variable contains the array of all the axis objects. So there are 6 of them, right? So we can access them as AX0, AX1, AX2, and so on. Okay. Suppose we want 3 rows and 1 column, and we want to plot those medals. So we have gold, silver, and bronze medals for the 7 or 8 countries. So suppose we want to create 3 bar charts, 1 for gold, 1 for silver, and 1 for bronze, right? So we have AX0, AX1, and AX2. Okay. So we can set up the chart. So AX0, we want a bar chart, and we want to use medals dot index. Okay, so remember from last time, medals, we read medals in so here. So we took the first column and made it into an index. So we have countries as index, and then we have gold, silver, bronze in medals. So we can say medals dot index, that will be the x-axis, right, comma medals gold. Okay. So that will be AX0, then AX1, we change that to silver, and bronze. Okay. So now we have 3 charts, right? And we can set titles up again individually. So you can say set. Right. So for the first axis object, so we're going to set some labels, say title equal to gold medals. So that should be okay. And then we can say y label equal to count, right? And then x label equal to country. Now we can now copy this and make changes. So one will be, change that to silver, and then 2 will be bronze. Okay. So we have the title, Y label, and X label. There it is. Okay, gold medals. Now, here the x-axis label for the second plot is kind of running into the plot title of the third plot, so we can adjust the plot subplots adjust, and then we want the height space, H space, and now we can try different values and then see whether that's good. Okay, so that looks nice. So for the subplots adjust method, so here are the other parameters that we can use. We used W space and H space. Okay. You can also have left, bottom, right, and top. You can specify the margins of the space that you want in those directions as well. Okay, so I'm going to move this up right there. So spacing out the axis objects. Okay, so we have done this as already. I'm going to move that up as well. Okay, so here is figure size parameter, and plots in a single column, you've done that as well. So we did all these three here.